good morning to everyone present here at this moment. I warmly welcome our Father, Rohan D. Almeida, and our guest for today, Father Olvin Veigas, who will be the resource person for the day.
Very nice. I'm very happy to be with you today and would like to discuss with you about this war in Ukraine. When did the First World War start? 1914, and it ended in 1918. Okay. Then have you heard about the Second World War? Yes. You did study. When did it start? 1939, 1939, and it ended in 1945. But if you are studying in Russia, they will say that the Second World War started in 1941. But here in India, we have to say it is 1939. That's what our history books say, because different countries understand different way of understanding about when did the World War started. What happens in World War? Why this war is called World War? Yeah, because many countries are fighting. The countries, there are 195 or 97 countries in the world, 195 or 96 according to the United Nations. So, and all these countries, one way or the other, they group together. Usually it is two groups or three groups. Maybe one group is fighting fiercely, then another group is fighting against it, and there may be some countries neutral. Actually, India usually does not join any of the blocs as such. Earlier it was called blocs, did not join any of the groups. However, during the time of First World War and Second World War, India was a colony of Britain, right? British, isn't it? So that's why our soldiers did fight in the Second World War, also in the First World War, in different places. Even though it might not have affected very much us, here our territorial integrity of the so-called at the time India. Okay. Now currently you must have been reading a lot in the newspapers. Or do you read newspapers?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. You need to read newspapers. Every day. There are a lot of wonderful newspapers. It gives us a lot of information about what is current affairs. Then we have got TV. Do you watch TV?
Yes.
How many of you don't watch TV? Okay. Okay. Sometimes it's good to watch news in the television, and that will help you also to improve your language. And you must have been reading also in your WhatsApp, isn't it? We have got in our mobiles WhatsApp, and it is you must be getting a lot of news about what is happening in the news as well in your WhatsApp messages. So currently, even though if everything is going on well here in Bangalore, but in faraway country things are not very good. And you must have heard about this one of big countries called Russia and Ukraine. Russia is very important for us, for India, because in the last since the independence, Russia has helped us in many ways. Soviet Union at that time. Under the Soviet Union, even Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. Ukraine. So now I would like to say something about. I will give you a brief history of Russia and also the Ukraine. Then something about their faith culture, what kind of religion they belong to, and I also speak about Ukraine and Russia during the time of Tsars, and also what happened in 1917, the Bolshevik Revolution. You must have heard about Lenin. Have you heard about Lenin? Okay, we'll speak about that. And then afterwards, the fall of Soviet Union and many other things. So let me go straight to. This is a map. Can you see? Is it visible for all of you? Those who are sitting behind. Okay, this is Russia. This is whatever it is written in yellow is called Russian territory, and it is one of the largest country in the world. There is no as big as Russia. The second largest country in the world, geographic size, which is one? No, not China. Canada. Canada is the second largest country, but their population is small, because these countries have got northern parts of these countries have a lot of snow. There's always winter. It is inhabitable. People cannot live in a cold country. And what is the capital city of Russia? Moscow. I lived there for many years. I went to Russia in 2001 and I spent quite a lot of time. And afterwards I was teaching there and I was directing a school like this, because but it was giving bachelor degrees. Then also there is Siberia. Have you heard about Siberia? Oh, this is called Siberia, and the capital city of Siberia is Novosibirsk. I also spent some time there. Okay, so it has 145 million population. 1 million, 1 million means how many lakhs?
10 lakhs.
Very good, you are wonderful. That means 145 million means how many lakhs? Huh? Okay, 14.5. That means that means how many crores?
14.5.
Tell me the correct. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So it is the largest country, and Russia as a country is called Russian Federation. It exists since 1991. Before that, it was Soviet Union, and before 1917, it was czars, kings, just like what we had in India. We do not have a country as such. India, we had India, but those of us who are in Bangalore, we belong to Mysore Kingdom, isn't it? There wasn't something like we had India. For us, it was everything has to do with the Mysore Odayas. They were the kings here, and that's how. Before 1917, Russia had czars. They are called the kingdoms. Rajas or Maharajas is called as a czar. Have you heard about czar? And queen is called, this is a Russian word, czar, and queen is called czarina. So in Roman Empire, have you heard about Roman Empire? Yes, Roman Empire, the king, the Maharaja was called Caesar. Have you heard about Caesar? Okay, very good. In the Bible, there is a reference to Caesar Augustus, during which time Jesus was born. Okay, very good. So always Russia lived as an empire. Always they had a big territory. Even other countries were part of it, and it has also a very strong defense system. What is that? It produces a lot in Russia. Russia has a gas and a petrol. Natural resources are what we call benzene. Because oil, usually we call it oil. Oil means not coconut oil. Oil means usually in the newspapers, it is always petrol, diesel, and kerosene, all sorts of things, because they are all divided. Once you get from the raw, what we call oil from the from the under the earth, then you divide through the refineries. You must have heard about Mangalore refinery. All sorts of crude oil is brought, and it gets divided or segregated into petrol, diesel, kerosene, and many other things, including asphalt. That is on the road we use that black, asphalt. Then we go to Ukraine. You see this Ukraine? Russia is here, Belarus is here, Poland, Romania. Okay. Ukraine is another largest country, the largest country in Europe. How many continents are there? Very good. So Europe is one of the continents. In Europe, Ukraine is the largest, even though Ukraine does not belong to the European Union. And it has got 44 million population. You can see that. Not very much. Then it has always had, since its independence in 1992-91, it has got political instability. That means constantly there are some problems, politically upheavals, governments are changed, etc. So Ukraine did not exist as a country for a long time, because half of Ukraine, if you see this line, so this is the western part of Ukraine was always before 1917 belonged to the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Austria. Hungarian means Hungary. Have you heard about Hungary? What is the capital city of Hungary? Budapest. What is the capital of Austria? Austria, Vienna. Have you heard about Vienna? No, you have to study these things. Very interesting. Go to their maps and just see which is the capital city of. Because this is our general questions, always helpful. That's why it's a class, interactive, and so that you don't feel bored and you get to learn a lot of things. And the First World War, 1914 started. It was because of there's a conflict in Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the western part of Ukraine was part of Austro-Hungarian Empire until 1917. And eastern part, from here, what is the capital city of Ukraine? Kiev. Kiev, see here it is. Can you see? Okay. And Kiev was part of the Russian Empire. And during the Tsar's time, St. Petersburg was the capital city of Russian Empire, not Moscow. Moscow became after the revolution in 1917. So in Ukraine, until 92 was very strong country as such within the Soviet Union, and they had nuclear arsenals, they had bombs and other things, and they also had a very strong defense industry and also aeroplanes. They produced aeroplanes. But what happened in 1994? There was an agreement between Russia and Ukraine and many other countries, and they decided that Ukraine will dismantle its nuclear weapons and other defense systems, and as a result, Russia is supposed to take care of it, defend it. If somebody comes and occupies it, they have to defend it. Unfortunately, things have changed since 2014. And it also had a strong aviation industry in Russia. Nikita Khrushchev, if you have heard about, he's the third president of Soviet Union. He came from Ukraine. Ukraine is also called the bread basket of Europe. What does the meaning of bread basket? That means it produces a lot of food grains, and it is very fertile ground, and it has got a very black soil. The soil is really rich, and it also produces so much of wheat and other grains. It exports a lot to China and African countries, Europe, Latin American countries, etc. So it's a food basket. So it's very important to know the importance of Ukraine. Ukraine always has been a very peace-loving or peaceful country. It did not wage wars against others. Always others came and occupied that territory. And currently you must have seen, the war. I just like to give you, before speaking about more, just see what the war does. That's why we need to look for peace. That's the main intention that we are having at this talk here. I like to show a video clip sent by my friends in Ukraine. That will be interesting for you. Just see the destruction. So this is the electric poles that are fallen, and all these are, because of shelling. All the trees are also burnt off, and it is really terrible. All these are this side, left side are all apartment. Can you see the apartment? Everything is burned. All these are apartments because. People don't live, these are all the cities, big cities, Mariupol, etc. See, whole city is destroyed. When they bomb from the aeroplanes and they send the missiles, you can see Chandor. There were thousands and thousands of people living here. And also we should remember in these houses lived young kids like you and me, senior people who are sick, women, pregnant women, and they all have to be shifted. You can imagine the pain and the loss of these people, okay? So, somebody was killed and they buried, and this is a school area, school playground. All the schools are shut now for the more than 1 month now. No schools are running. You can imagine if something happens like that for us, all of us will be sheltering in somewhere else. What is this?
Missile.
It's a missile hit the school ground. This is what war is. War means total destruction. The life of the people is completely shattered. Lot of bloodshed, unnecessary killing, and there is not even place to bury the dead. That's what happening in many places because somebody has to work for it. So this is a little cartoon was sent from from England. There is an embassy of Russia in Belarus. Have you heard about Belarus? I spoke about Belarus, no? Which is the next country to Ukraine and Russia. And is the president of Ukraine, Lukashenko, and Putin is sleeping with all the blood. And this is what it says. This is Ukrainian soldier taking a small child, saving. And here is a Russian soldier trying to steal everything, grab everything, including a chicken, So nicely depicted by the artist. This is my good family friend, and they're all very well educated. He is the dean of theology faculty in Lviv Catholic University, Raman, and Natalia. She's also a biblical professor. Both of them are professors, and they have two kids. They're all living at this moment in fear, anxiety. No, they are safe at this moment. Every day I'm in touch with them. I've got a lot of friends. So this is Moscow city, and here is Putin. You must have seen in the tanks and other things, Z letter. Have you heard about it? It is called Tsar Russia. Tsar means for Russia. Okay. Now we're coming to the history of Russia, and what has been happening. Why these kind of reasons? There are many reasons why this war is taking place. Many reasons. However, we should understand always we decide the future of our country depending on its people's interest, how we look at it. And if we want to do well in our country, in our Bangalore city, we like to be honest people, kind people, people who are caring, then all around we become like that. All our surroundings, our school surroundings, our home surroundings, our village surroundings, our city surroundings become peaceful, harmonious. But if the people themselves are very angry, fighting at each other, and there is so much, all the time to grab others, that's what happens as well. However, whenever there is an empire, it's always there is a tendency to occupy more. The Second World War, what happened was when Adolf Hitler came to power. Remember him, Adolf Hitler? Okay. What he started to do was, he disciplined his people and started to work towards the progress of the country, economic progress. And once he became very strong, he felt that that's the time to conquer others, destroy the Jews. You must have heard about, he wrote a book, what is called? Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf is the book that he wrote, and in that book he wrote what his agenda is. One of the agenda was to kill all the Jews. Israel, have you heard about Israel? And those who are Christians, they know very well who are the Jews. They are the descendants of Abraham and Isaac, Jacob. And afterwards they spread all around the Middle East, and they spread they spread also in Europe, and today they are all around the world. But they were very brilliant people and did a lot of things, and Adolf Hitler did not like them. So he thought that all the problems of Europe because of the Jews, and he started to kill them. And the 6 million people were killed by the Adolf Hitler. So, that is what. Then once Adolf Hitler started to conquer one country to another, his desire increased, means the destructions. So that kind of mentality of occupation happens when it enters the mind of someone, then it cannot be taken out. So always that kind of imperialistic, I guess, remained in Russia as well. So you can see about always changes in Russian government. 1721, the empire was established, even though 300 years before that, 1400, 1500, already they had an empire, not as modern Russia we can call it. That is, he established the St. Petersburg city. And 1917 Bolshevik Revolution with Vladimir Lenin. You heard, no? I spoke about him. So he brought the revolution. All the kings were killed, the Nicholas II, and afterwards he started a revolution in other nearby countries like Belarus. What do you call Belarus was part of Russian Empire, Ukraine, other countries. Moldova, Lithuania, Latvia, Moldova, those countries, and Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, etc., etc. Then in 1991 there was disintegration of Russia. So just to show you all these countries which were part of Russia, you can see those countries here. Yeah, these are all Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Armenia, Georgia. All these countries, even in Finland, all these countries, there was a revolution, and they all joined together and made a big federation, and it was called Soviet Union in 1920s. So we go forward. Then always in the minds of people there was a nostalgia. What is the meaning of nostalgia? Memories of the past. Very nice memories of the past. That's called nostalgia. 1917, the Soviet Union or communist country comes into existence. Russian Empire becomes Soviet territory or Soviet Empire, you can call it, and it lasted until 1991. People had it is a different kind of government. It's not a democratic. There are not elections as such what we have here. Any communist country, there is single party. Single party means one political party. That's Communist Party, no other parties. What is our country, India? Democratic country, because we have got many political parties. Anybody can stand for elections. Tomorrow when you get into the age, you can stand for election. Even I can stand for elections. Anybody can stand election. I can start my own party, you can start your own party. So this is a freedom is there. Freedom to rule the country. And there is also democracy. You can vote secretly and nobody can come and say that in your place somebody else cannot vote. You can vote. Your personal vote cannot be voted by someone else. Only you can vote. Okay. So you can see that during the Soviet time, it's a single party, and that's why they were able to do a lot of things, because once you have there's no opposition, you can do the way you want. But there were also invasions by the Soviet Union against other countries. Soviet Union invades Hungary. Have you heard about Hungary? Just now I saw. What is the capital city of Hungary? Budapest. Remember these things, okay? 1956. Czechoslovakia. Does that country called Czechoslovakia exist today? No. But today they have remained as Czech Republic, Moldova, then Slovenia, Slovakia, these are the countries. It was occupied in 1968. Afghanistan, very much in your mind, I am supposed, isn't it? Even Soviet Union occupied Afghanistan in 1979, but they failed. And of course in 2014, Crimea was invaded by Russia. Okay. I want to speak something about what are the political and economic and cultural factors that seems to have led to this invasion of Ukraine. Usually you conquer another territory or you fight with another person because that person has fought with you. Am I right? There is, what is what do you call? Have you gone to Newton's principles? Have you studied about Newton? No. Yes? What is the third principle? For every action, there is an equal or opposite reaction. So that is what happens. However, the present war in Ukraine is not that way. Ukraine was a peaceful country. He did not fight with Russia or did not do anything. But Russia felt that Ukraine is at fault. Because since the integration of the Soviet Union, Ukraine always looking at the West. West means European Union. European Union countries are very prosperous countries because there is not as much of corruption as other countries. the things are very well disciplined. Education and all sectors of the human life and the state's life is taken care of because of good governance. So that is why it is better. Whereas these Soviet Union countries, there's a lot of corruption. You understand? Corruption, nepotism. Things do not go. You have to, for everything you have to give the bribe, etc. So always the Ukrainians thought that they want to become prosperous. They always looked at the West, the European Union, and they want to be a member of the Soviet Union, European Union. They wanted to become the member of NATO. To become the member of European Union, it is very difficult. How many European Union countries are there? 30 or 28? Okay, 28 or 13. I not exactly that number. Anyway, no problem. So, there is also a feeling in the Soviet countries, former Soviet Union countries, there is a sense of loss. Because when you live in a big empire, big territory, you feel that it is good, Then you are reduced to a small country, you feel it is not very nice. So, there is a sense of loss among even with these former countries, and they wanted to be together, and especially that kind of nostalgia of the Soviet Union exists among the Russians. So many of the disintegrated Soviet Union countries became European Union countries. They merged into European Union. For example, Poland. Poland? Poland, Slovenia, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Finland. All these countries have become part of the European Union. So what happens? As the European Union country, they also have the possibility of becoming the member of NATO, NATO. What is the full form of NATO? North Atlantic Treaty Organization. That means instead of having each country having a defense system or soldiers of their own, they have a collective form of defending themselves, so that no other country can occupy another country, and no other country from outside the European Union can touch the NATO countries. So it is so that because always European countries fought with each other. You must have heard about France and England all the time fighting, France and Germany, all these countries are fighting at each other, and finally they said no more this kind of fighting. We'll have in peaceful existence, even though we are small countries and big countries, and that is a wonderful way of looking at things, so that only in peace we can study, we can have a beautiful life in a peaceful country. When there is no peace, a life is shattered, bloodshed, we cannot have good hospital, good school or college, cannot have work, cannot have normal existence. So that's the reason they look for this one. That's why the things are much more different in European Union. So the NATO also started to expand along with the European Union. Turkey is member of NATO, but not part of the European Union. To become a member of European Union is very difficult. So to the becoming member of NATO, there's a lot of laws have to be changed. There should be a freedom among the people, in the country, etc., etc. Corruption should not be there. Then you can see however, Russia thought that when the Ukraine wants to go away, such a largest country, become member of the European Union, it felt it is a threat to its national security. Because, I am here, Bangalore, and then another empire is next to, another kingdom is next to us, and they are trying to coming closer and closer. The enemy is coming closer. So always, Russia thought that European Union is some sort of competitor for Russia. So that's why they had this difficulty. And as a result, when the expansion of European Union and NATO began, always Russia expressed its dissatisfaction. He said, no, you don't do that. You don't come closer. And also you must have heard, it's difficult maybe for you to understand, NATO wanted to put in Poland, which is closer next to a country to Ukraine, to put anti-ballistic missile shield. What does it mean? When you send a missile from here, the other country can intercept and stop it. So nobody can, so that's how protect. So they felt that European Union wanted to put it, and Russia always asked, especially the person of Putin, he said, why do you want to put these anti-ballistic missiles next neighbor? And no, that is the thing. However, every person has a right to protect himself or herself, but this is what went on. Meanwhile, there were many revolutions since the fall of Soviet Union. Countries like Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Georgia, Armenia, including Ukraine. There were some revolutions. There were a lot of change of government, etc., etc. So always Russia looked it with a lot of attention. So there are many reasons why. There are other reasons as well. There are also in 2014, Russia took away the land called Crimea. Crimea is a small island but beautiful. It is on the Black Sea. Very nice place for tourism and other things. It took away that land. It grabbed it. Russia. Actually, it is not supposed to be. See, we have a lot of difficulties with our own land, isn't it? We have got problems with the northern parts of India, especially Assam, that area, Arunachal Pradesh with the China and India. We have also problem with the Kashmir between Pakistan and India. The lands which were ours were grabbed by China in 1962 when they came into war, and we did not have the defense system, so took away our land. So we are interested in our land, isn't it? It's not right to another country takes away. So Ukraine lost its land in the south part of the country called Crimea or Sevastopol. And meanwhile, Russia also tried to destabilize Ukraine in a place called Lugansk and Donetsk, where the war is going on, and there's a problem. Then, what are the religious factors? We'd like to speak something about religion. We have got another 10 minutes. And I see that the religion before the Soviet Union, Russian Empire, they were all Christians. All Christians. Among the Christians, there are a lot of divisions, as you know. There are Orthodox Christians, and there are the Christians who take the authority of Pope, for example. We all of us here, myself and those of the Jesuits are under, the Roman Catholics, we call them, they are all under the authority of Pope. And always, for any country, it so happens the religion gives some sort of identity. For them, it was Christianity was a religion. However, we should understand, in the Soviet Union, there are also Muslims. In Russia, there are 17% of the population is Muslim. And there are also Buddhists. There are a republic called Komi, where the big republic, and all of them are Buddhists. So there are also other religions like Jews, but mainly in the time of King and others, they were all Christians. It's good to know about these countries. So during the time after the fall of Soviet Union, once again the religion takes a prominence. It's called Russian Orthodoxy, and Putin belongs to the Russian Orthodox Church. And it has got always that religion called Christianity. Its roots in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, and that's where in 988 the Prince Vladimir he took the baptism. Then all of them became Christians, and Russia thinks that Kiev belongs to Russia because of its Christian roots. But today we cannot say that way, And there are also little problems between the churches, etc. That's okay. And now coming straight to the present aspects or the present problems in Russia and Ukraine problems like this. What does Putin want? Vladimir Putin is the president of Russia since 2000. He took over the job as the president of Russia from Boris Yeltsin on 31st of December 1999. Very interesting day. And for the last 21 years, he has been for the third term, he has become president, and for one term, he was the prime minister. So he has been stuck to the power for a long time. So his idea is to topple the government of Kiev or Ukraine. Who is the president of Ukraine now? Volodymyr Zelensky. Volodymyr Zelensky. So he wants to talk to the government, take away the democratically elected government. The second thing is wants the military to lay down the arms. Ukrainian military. Which country will do that? If somebody comes to fight with us, what we'll do? We'll fight. Fight until the finish, We'll not give up our territory or freedom. So that's what Ukrainians are fighting for. Third one is he wants to demilitarize or denazification. He wants to destroy all the patriots. Those who say that Ukraine is Ukraine belongs to us, Ukrainians. They are called, he calls these people, Vladimir Putin, as the Nazis. It is not right at all. You cannot call them as Nazis. Because President himself is a Jew, Vladimir Zelensky, and you cannot call that person like that. Yeah? And Nazis were Germans who were destroying the Jews. That's why they're called Nazis. Okay? So he wants to also destroy all the military infrastructure of Ukraine. How it's possible? We cannot do that. Okay. Then there was an agreement in Minsk in Belarus regarding the Crimea war. That he says that Ukraine has not followed. It's another reason why Vladimir Putin says we should fight with Ukraine. So he also wants to take away the Russian speakers who are living in Ukraine. We saw Donetsk and Lugansk, where the eastern part, closer to the border of Russia, they speak Russian language, not Ukrainian as such. And those places also very rich in minerals. There are a lot of coal and other minerals. So Russia wants to take away those places as well. This is all selfish motives. Always wars happen because of that. And Russia is also a very prosperous country. It has got 40%, it sells almost 40% of gas to Europe. Cooking gas? Okay, cooking gas, 40% of gas goes to Europe. See, in all these countries, which are cold countries, our houses are heated. All the houses, schools, colleges, hospitals, everything is heated. To heat the houses, you need to have a lot of gas. It is water is boiled in one place, and government sends it in hot pipes, and the water moves inside your house to the batteries, etc. Very nice system that they have, and there's a lot of consumption of gas in Europe. Okay, Russia has also a lot of defense system. 98% of India's defense system comes from Russia. Sometimes those big fighter jets are flying over us, MiGs and Sukhois. They all come from Russia, including our tanks, most of them. So only 2% is which we get from Sweden, Bofors and other things, etc. Do you have any questions? Yeah.
It's 46% from Russia.
No, it is not true. So it is 98. You can say 95 now because recently India acquired Rafale fighter jets from France, and other Bofors you must have heard about. From Sweden, those are guns. Otherwise, everything comes from there. And tomorrow, if Russia says we'll not provide defense system, then we'll have a lot of difficulty, including the spare parts. If the window of the aeroplane or the MiG is destroyed and we have to fix it up, we have to go to Russia and get it. It's a problem we have in India. It's a big system problem. China is the next neighboring country, and China is economically becoming very strong, and it has a lot of investment in Russia, and always China has been a problem in the sense its economic ambitions, and many find that today China and Russia have come closer, and that is a little difficult. And China also has a little wants to take over Taiwan. Have you heard about Taiwan? Yes, Taiwan. Okay. So there are a lot of things going on at this moment, friends, because at the moment more than 4 million population of Ukraine has moved out of the country, immigrated. Means they have migrated because leaving everything behind, and you can see the papers and read the newspapers and see the TV and see that maybe what we can do is we can pray for peace in Russia and Ukraine. People come to an agreement. People of goodwill support these peace initiatives. Perhaps we do something as well, many other issues. Okay? With these things I end. Do you have any questions? I think it is almost time. We can take 1 minute if you have any questions. More or less you understood why the reasons and why this war is going on. It's almost to a 34th day of a war. Okay. As a result of this war, lot of the price of oil has gone up. Do you know that? The cars or scooters that you now know, the price of oil has gone up, and it is and also many other things. So it is causing a lot of economic strain on us as well. We cannot fly. People who are studying in Ukraine, a lot of Indians study in Ukraine, Russia, etc. They do medicine. Those who want to do MBBS afterwards, so they can go and study there because it is very cheaper than what we have here in India, and we don't have need. Those things are not necessary. Those exams. So many of our students were studying there. They have to be brought back. Almost 18,000 students studying in Russia, in Ukraine. They have to brought back, and so many other countries have business interest in all these countries. They have to be pulled out. Economic sanctions have been imposed on Russia. As a result, people are doing business. A lot of people I know from India working in Russia doing the business. They have a lot of difficulties at this moment. So difficulties are enormous. Okay, good. You don't have any questions? You'll have questions. One more. Okay, very good. It is wonderful to be with you. I know I cannot meet you personally. First time coming to your class. Certainly you think about it, read about it, discuss about it, why the peace is important, and certainly we should do everything possible in our life so that we live in a coexistence, peaceful, harmonious life. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Father, for the wonderful speech. I thank all the Josephites for their presence and participation.